Now, local news is mega right-wing. I say this all the time. They're super reactionary. You already probably have seen the famous...
I made a year without
you've probably seen the famous, like, Sinclair Broadcasting local news coverage where they just basically say the exact same thing. You know? Shit that we would be like, oh, this is what happens in North Korea. Here, I'm still retweeting. I'm still once again asking for your retweets and your likes and your engagement because I'm not seeing enough movement here. But they're evil. Most of these local news outlets, though, for the most part, they definitely do hype up reactionary ass narratives. You probably recall watching the riots that were occurring during the BLM protests, right? They would literally fucking send a news chopper outside of like a sneaker store and just literally fucking take as much drone footage as they possibly can of like, black kids looting the sneaker store. Like, it's just always tropes. They're huge with that sort of stuff. They're very, very effective at doing racial agitprop. And they, more importantly than that, are definitely the most trusted resource in news. Most people consider local news to be the most trustworthy and the most unbiased form of news, even though it is.
Number 13.
Yeah, they'll always show like the same burning car over and over again, all that good stuff, right? So now that shit is like kicked it up a notch. If you're watching from afar, if you've never been to California, I don't know where to begin with this one, but basically every one of my fucking rich friends, like literally every single one, has had their very own Casey Neistat moment. If you recall, Casey Neistat was like, he went from like fucking Black Lives Matter to cut the tall trees. The moment that like someone broke into his car, right? And I feel like that's precisely what's happening with a lot of people in California. A lot of libs in California are showing once again that they are simply social fascists. Not to bring the age-old Stalinist argument here, but they're going mass the fuck off. Why are they going mass the fuck off? Well, because there's mass hysteria. I'm gonna be honest, like, it's hard not to go mass the fuck off and like lose your fucking mind if you're just a dumb person who doesn't know anything and you're just seeing from every outlet, from every fucking avenue that you get information from, including your Instagram feed, is telling you like, look at these black teenagers stealing, okay? What do I do when they steal shit out of my car? What do I do when they steal my shit out of my car? I'm poor too, bro. Dude, that is literally what cops are for. Okay? That is precisely the point of policing. Okay? Why do we have this conversation where even the people who are like, oh, I love cops, I want to kiss cops, and the people who are like, fuck cops, constantly forget that, like, that's the only reason why they should exist. Okay? Like, that's literally it. There is precisely no other reason almost for them to fucking exist, okay? And they don't do that one fundamental thing that they're supposed to do, okay? And everybody understands this. Even the biggest bootlickers are like, yeah, cops are just, they don't care. It seems like they just don't do anything, right? It's always so funny when people are like, well, shit gets stolen from my car. Like, what do we do? I don't know, man. Fucking, that's what cops are supposed to do. They're supposed to fucking deal with that, but they don't, because they don't give a fuck. If you are in Southern California, Northern California, if you're in any part of California, okay, you have 1000% seen at least like one or two rich people just fucking go buck wild on the timeline and openly say some racist ass bullshit. Okay? And that comes from outlets like
The
this.
View with Senior Vice President and General Manager Bill Lamb.
The unprecedented crime wave that we're currently experiencing falls squarely at the feet of the Democrats in the form of two bad propositions and a weak on crime approach. Mob lootings are happening daily. Walgreens are closing quite a few stores forever because organized...
Okay. Mob loots are happening daily. Mob loots. Okay. Walgreens are closing, which we already know. If you've been in here, we already fucking know. Walgreens were not closing because of the crime wave, okay? They have been downsizing and closing up in like high value real estate areas for a long ass time. There hasn't been an unprecedented crime wave in New York, but more fucking Walgreens turned, more Walgreens shuttered in fucking New York. What's up with that? But you don't get that same kind of, you do not get that same kind of fucking coverage about that.
Please donate your strong blood and stem cells to Bernie.
Local news and their bias. Someone stole $950 worth of items from a Walgreens. There were 309 news stories about it. Walgreens was caught stealing $4.5 million from employees. It just got one single story. Yep.
Central New Jersey poggers.
Because just like violence, there is an understanding of the type of theft that we do not consider to be theft. The state has a monopoly on violence. So when a cop tear gasses a protester, that's not considered violence. But when the protesters kick the tear gas canister back, then that's violence. That is assault against a law enforcement officer. Okay? And the same attitude exists in this kind of theft as well. Petty theft or whatever the fuck is seen as like actual theft, but wage theft is seen as just the cost of doing business. But that isn't, but I don't even want to talk about that, okay? I don't even want to talk about the whole like, oh, well, what about, wage theft or whatever. I've covered that a million times over. Nobody gives a fuck, okay? You're not going to be able to convince a guy who is like terrified that, teenagers are going to come and break their skull in with a fucking hammer and steal their jewelry or some shit from their house in their like nice little suburban home because they're watching that on TV non-fucking stop, even though they're not a Louis Vuitton storefront, but they think that, someone's going to do that to them. Okay. So we already addressed the Walgreens story. It's bullshit. Walgreens has been shutting down locations in like high value real estate areas for the past couple of years now. More Walgreens have shut down in New York, even though there wasn't a unprecedented increase in crime in New York. Like I said, I have to fucking mention this again. So let's continue with the rest of it.
Shoplifting is costing $25,000 a day per store, according to some reports.
No. Oh no. Anyway, let's keep going.
Target stores in San Francisco are reducing store hours to reduce shoplifting losses. Two propositions.
All of this is literally just PR for corporations, PR for the fucking police, okay? Pinning Target and Walgreens as victims, okay? As though they aren't just like lifeless, faceless entities that operate on a profit motive that already has factored in all of this fucking theft and whatnot, and literally engages in wage theft that is significantly times higher than the actual petty theft that occurs inside of their fucking stores that they're insured for and also have already baked into their bottom line. Okay, they've factored into their bottom line. And also, the local news loves to do propaganda for the police state. Okay, these are stories that heighten that. On the one hand, they constantly fucking talk about how there's a labor shortage. And then they turn around and say, well, actually, a lot of people are fucking, reducing the man hours because of loss prevention. Like, it's like, oh, well, really? There's no labor shortage anymore? That's what's going on? That's what's up? That's the whole point? It's bullshit. They're doing PR for the company, okay?
proposed by Democrats have led to this situation. Proposition 47, passed by misinformed voters in 2014, was deceptively titled the Safe Neighborhoods and Schools Act. It reduced drug possession and even some property crimes from a felony to a misdemeanor. It made most anything stolen under $950 a petty theft and allowed for many people already convicted under tough.
Oh, that seems really interesting. So let's talk about this fucking crime wave, okay? So I know that it is like functionally impossible for someone who is fucking terrified because they're seeing this everywhere to listen to the words I am about to tell you, okay? You might be watching all the Ring doorbell videos and every other thing that you see on your Instagram timeline. But when you look at the actual fucking data, this notion of a crime wave is completely false. Crime always goes up during the holiday season, okay? That's just a unfortunate reality. Crime also is not a consequence of like bad actors being lazy but they want to do crimes because they're bad, but instead because they're fucking starving or they're poor and they have no other opportunity or no other outlet. Those are the main reasons why crime occurs, and the way to solve that is by tackling it systemically rather than increasing and beefing up police brutality or police security. And the greatest example of that is because police brutality and police militarization has greatly increased, and yet there's still this crime wave apparently. Well, guess what? Actually, okay, there is no fucking crime wave. Turns out the crime wave that they're talking about is specifically homicides that are up by a lot. Homicides that are a consequence of gang activity in those very same black and brown neighborhoods that most of these rich people would never fucking go to anyway. Okay? When you look at the thefts in the state of California, outside of the increase in theft that is a consistent factor during the holiday season, burglaries are down. They're fucking down. But if you exclusively got your fucking news from psychotic pieces of shit like this, you would think Los Angeles is literally on fucking fire. And there is just crazy amounts of crime going on non-fucking stop. Okay? Yeah. And maybe some of you are like, well, I don't fucking know what's going on. I don't really follow this shit. But like every part of my fucking news feed has been absolutely just polluted with this stuff. Absolutely polluted with this psychotic nonsense.
Sussy chat.
And again, bro, LA is ghetto right now. You have to agree. That's bullshit. That's just straight up bullshit. Okay? There is so much struggle, torment, and human misery in every fucking street corner in Los Angeles. And it is in the form of overdoses, people dying because they're addicted to drugs and have no way to recover, people dying because they're living out in the fucking streets. Okay? And that is an ongoing problem that liberals refuse to actually solve. This is happening in every American city, and it's going to continue happening in every American city. Okay? There's vids all over Instagram of LA and armed robberies. I know. I am familiar. I know. The reality is that we are hyper-focusing on the crime that is a constant factor, okay? Or armed robberies that is a constant factor. But if you look at the statistics, they're actually fucking down. So I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's not new. That is a constant part of living in a fucking city. Okay, that's also a part of living in a suburb. It's just a part of living in a place where there are poor people and there are rich people. And the poor people have no options, so they fucking turn to crime. Okay? This does not excuse the crime itself. Underreporting can be a thing? No. What? No, it can't be a thing. What do you mean? There's
once again immune
when
from
you
the
actually look at the data by people who make a living literally analyzing and doing research for this stuff, you can't just be like, well, the data doesn't correspond to my personal biases, so I'm just going to decide that maybe there's underreporting going on.
Blast this sussy.
No, it's the science that's wrong behind it. Why would anybody underreport it? Where is the incentive to underreport the crime? Anyway, so I'll show you some fucking data, okay?
Grace and Liz on the stream yesterday was so fun.
But this idea that you know, there is so much crime rate happening. The crime rate is like skyrocketed in Los Angeles or in California. It's ridiculous. Okay, it's ridiculous. I don't fault the average American or the average Californian for getting whipped up into a frenzy. Okay, but my job is to adequately show you what is actually fucking going on, and I'm going to do that. Okay.
Less than 3.
Another person that they're constantly fucking blaming for this is the woke DA, okay, and woke prosecutors. George I don't want to fuck his name up, but the California prosecutor is being used as like the main reason for why this is happening, and there is so much agitprop, like so much fucking anti-George Gascon agitprop out there because of the LA District Attorney and his point of view on reducing recidivism. Same thing in San Francisco for Chesa Bowden. Even even Mike Bonin, who we've talked about on this broadcast before, who is a council member, ex-homeless person, who like literally fucking defeated homelessness and became a council member in Los Angeles, oversees the district that that Venice is a part of. Okay, everywhere around the fucking country, you have these people that are progressive, that are doing a decent job as best as they can. Okay, and all of these psychotic fucking weirdo suburban shitheads and reactionary accounts are basically using this as an opportunity to spread misinformation and whip up the fucking people in the suburbs into a goddamn frenzy, and it's working. It's very, very, very effective. Yeah, you got the Larry Krasner in Philadelphia.
2 lockdowns, one of which we just had from an unknown source, Sag.
But let's watch what else he said.
Tougher standards to be resentenced. But it didn't stop there. Another Proposition 57, shamelessly titled the Public Safety and Rehabilitation Act, gave nonviolent felons a path for early release, where parole boards could only now consider an...
I started following Street People of LA Instagram because I saw you follow them, but I didn't... Yeah, I know I follow them because I track this sort of stuff. Don't think that just because I fucking follow an account on Instagram or Twitter means that they're like good. No, Street People of LA is exactly what I'm talking about. That's one of those Instagram accounts that's just like fucking whipping up everyone into a frenzy.
Inmates' most recent crime, not their entire criminal history. Translation: more felons released onto our streets. After the
this is another talking point that like that Gavin Newsom released 76,000 prisoners, violent prisoners, into the streets. That's another one. That's another lie. Okay. We're going to get to that as well.
State legislature and progressive DAs like George Gascon set us up to fail with these propositions. Many of our elected officials fell victim to the loud and ignorant cries to defund the police. Even though we could all see how that...
Another incredible lie. The police have been defunded to the tune of $120 million. Is another propaganda talking point that you see regularly, okay? All of these are fucking lies, okay? And I will tell you exactly why. I've talked about individual propaganda points in the past about like what do you call it? Hold on. I've talked about the different propaganda points in the past about like defunding the police is the reason for the rise in crime or whatever, or even that the police have been defunded. The police have not been defunded, folks. This might shock you. This might come as a surprise. But the police have not been fucking defunded at all. At most, police funds have increased, okay? But that increase has been shaved off to the tune of like 1%, 2%, 3%. The Los Angeles Police Department budget is still $1.7 billion to $3 billion, depending on, you know, what you are adding on to it, okay? But yeah, there's a crisis happening in Los Angeles. That's the main talking point. The police have been defunded by $150 million. False. Gavin Newsom released 76,000 violent inmates into the city. Triple false. And now we've seen a 200% increase in murders and an alarming increase of robberies in some of the wealthiest areas of Los Angeles. Yes, there is a 200% increase in murders. This is true. Almost entirely related to gang activity. Why is that happening? Because, unfortunately, there's a lot of fucking poverty. Okay? So, that's a complete fucking falsehood. Robberies are actually fucking down, for the record. And I'll show you in a second. Hold on. His last POV was about Gascon. Yeah, no, they are using this to fucking hammer George Gascon, saying that his ideas are dangerous. What?
Bing bong.
Bill Lamb subscribes to the Tucker Carlson School of Conservatism. Yeah. The problem in this story is that the hysteria that is being fucking whipped up is turning this into a real issue. The real issue is people feel unsafe in their fucking homes, okay? But they don't feel unsafe because of a very real crime wave or anything like that. Bro, it's crazy how the way you position data can create a reality that does not exist. I mean, dude, if you're saying there's a crime wave and people are getting fucking robbed like out the ass, and then robberies are down fucking 12.7%, okay? And that is consistent with the rest of the country in every other big city as a consequence of COVID, then I don't know what to tell you. Like, do you want me to lie? And be like, no, there are actually a lot more robberies happening. That's what the people want you to feel. So I'll just like continue with the lie. Or should we look at the fucking data that shows that that is not true? Okay.
Socialism.
LAPD data shows what you're saying. That's the other funny part is that like they don't even fucking hide it. Like it's not like their own data shows this reality. Okay, that crime is fucking down. Look at crime overall. The only thing that is up, rapes are down.
14 months of brain
the only thing that's actually up is homicides. Okay, homicides happening as a consequence of, you know, gang shit. According to the FBI, 2020, the property crime was by far the lowest it's been in decades, and the lowest it's been for the entire life of most living Americans, for the record. Yeah. It's literally not only down, it's down everywhere, guys. Okay? It's down, and it's down everywhere. And no, the murders are not okay. The murders are not okay. They're not all right. And the New York Times is also engaging in this insane agitated propaganda as well. And I don't know how to deal with this. I don't know how to, other than basically talk about the reality of the situation and how much people who are super biased and reactionary are like changing the narrative and changing the reality that you experience all around you.
Enjoy my
Other than just show you what the truth is. But the truth is not as sexy as like, or not as captivating as watching a fucking video of someone, you know, doing a quick smash and grab in what is considered a follow home robbery. Okay?
Down, let's go. Proud to be a part of the community. Brain rot free, thankfully.
It sucks.
Maybe.
It literally fucking sucks. Yeah, rise in robbery sparked police concern. Increase include a number of armed follow-away incidents. The annual number of robberies in Los Angeles has fucking decreased since 2017.
More than half the time. Also, thanks for the 13
with a big drop-off in these last 2 years, with a massive drop-off in these last 2 years. I'll show you the New York Times article in a second, too.
Late to the party, but glad to be here. Thumbs up.
The fact that you have to qualify that murders are not okay just shows how disingenuous the people challenging the left are. Yeah. I love that people straight up, yeah, and this is the Recall George Gascon, Stand Up for Victims website is just like completely psychotic. Republicans are mobilizing very effectively, okay? They're getting a lot of support from rich liberals as well. What triggers moral panic media cycles like this? I think it's a powder keg. The media has the primary function of operating as the manufactured consent machine that is going to the machine that basically manufactures consent that will go along with institutions that capital owners deem necessary for their existence, and also the continuation of the pre-established hierarchical order. Okay? Police are a part of that. Police protect the Capitol. It's the last line of defense. So they're basically working in unison. The other reason is the profit motive. Because these stories drive clicks. These stories get a lot of eyeballs. And they retain a lot of eyeballs. We constantly talk about how Facebook is so fucked up for allowing misinformation to spread on their platform because they want to sell more ads and because they know that people that look at like reactionary content or fake news are more likely to stay on the website. Well, they're doing that on the local news side too. They're doing that on the news side in general. Okay? So that's precisely what's going on here. Campaign promises. Gascon campaigned on working to eliminate cash bail. There was no working on it, despite the votes demanding via initiative that bail was necessary. Gascon instituted no cash bail. Anyhow, death penalty. Promised not to seek death penalty. Gascon's policies guarantee every murderer a parole hearing in 20 to 30 years. At least this way they have a chance to get out and kill again. Can you tell me that this is a normal human being on a normal website with a normal brain? $25 is life, dude. Can you imagine instituting an opportunity to parole unconditionally to every single person? That doesn't mean that they're going to get out, by the way. But this person is literally like, why won't we murder people that have done a crime? Juvenile justice. No children will be prosecuted as adults approaching juvenile justice with the lightest touch necessary with minimal court involvement, including a young adult court or felons for felons up to the age of 25. Violent young men, 17-year-old, will not be held in custody longer than age 25. Even for vicious gang murderers, mass killings, serial rapist murderers, and multiple body homicides. No matter how violent an offense or how many violent offenses a criminal commits, they will remain in juvenile court with no exceptions. An example, a 17-year-old, 11-month juvenile shot and killed his 16-year-old girlfriend and her 20-year-old sister. Then he burned down their apartment complex, and DA Gascon firmly believes a maximum of 7 years serves justice in this case. Violent young man. Victims. Gascon claims he would have victim-centered justice. No victim or witnesses will be forced to cooperate or testify. Instead, Gascon yells at victims to shut their mouth because they're uneducated. That's literally not, like, this is all fucking completely made up, by the way. Every single thing here. Misdemeanors. Victim-centered approach. Refuses to file resisting arrest, prostitution, drug, and alcohol crimes. Like, what the fuck do you mean? Driving under the influence first time, driving without a license, or suspended license, trespass, and dismissing all these cases in misdemeanor court. Look at that. They should be murdered. If you are caught with, you know, mushrooms, for example, which is illegal, you should be murdered!
Boys.
Kill them all! They've done a crime! Any crime equals death! Gascon claims he's against gun violence and sees a gun enforcement unit. All prior, current, and future gun enhancements must be dismissed with rare exceptions. Also not true. I don't know what the fuck this is about. Campaign promises eliminating all sentence enhancements / allegations never discussed. Actual policies. Blanket eliminations of special circumstances allegations which result in life without the possibility of parole, no matter how heinous the crime. No hate crime, gun, gang, grave bodily injury, or bail allegations may be attached to felony offenses. They have no sources. I mean, half of this shit is fucking made up, and the other half that's not made up is a great exaggeration to a degree that it should be considered completely made up. Okay? Anyway, so this says strong never mentions cancer, possibly pro-cancer energy. It's not even just that. Okay? And like Gascon is not even like a fucking great DA, don't get me wrong. Like I'm not even fucking out here being like, "Oh, I love him. He's fucking awesome." But it's very obvious that like even if you have a more even-handed approach to criminal justice that does not exclusively revolve around like murdering every fucking 17-year-old for the heinous crimes of, I don't know, fucking having weed on them with like intent to distribute, or fucking any other type of drug, or mushrooms for that matter. You're just like, these people just want to fucking kill you. Driving without a license, jail immediately, dude. Jail immediately.
Appreciate the Maxwell coverage yesterday.
Anyway. So, this stuff is just fucking completely psychotic. And it does not correspond to the actual data, the real data. Okay? In September, October, and November, instances of robberies have increased. Okay?
15 months of brain rot.
But overall, Los Angeles robberies are 12.7% lower compared to 2019. Okay? The increase, if you hyper-focus on 2021 or the past couple of months, is there. That increase happens during holiday season. But overall, it's continuously decreasing, and it's declined at a faster rate. The vast majority of the 200 robberies reported last week were street robberies, said LA Police Chief Michael Moore. Overall robberies are up 4.7 compared to 2020. Over the last year, violent crime in LA has increased by 6.3. Violent crime, for the most part, is increased on the side of homicides. Okay? So, even though robberies are up, they are so fucking down from pre-COVID, that like COVID era statistics in 2020 will make it seem like there's like a fucking big boost, but that's not real. Okay? I wonder what was a factor in robberies being so fucking low, other than people not going out and you know, cohabitating. Perhaps maybe, I don't know, government assistance and almost the damn near entire eradication of extreme poverty in the country in the form of stimulus checks had something to do with it. I don't know. Moore said, representing an additional 1,600 violent crimes, homicides have risen 317 last year to 361 during the same period this year. And over a two-year period, homicides have increased by 49.2%. Okay? This is a city of 4 million in a region of 10 million. So the vastness of it, people need to recognize that the vast majority of Angelenos are safe, but they need to exercise good preventive measures. This is the fucking chief of police, by the way. This is not like I'm going straight to the heart of a guy who would 100% engage in like as much agitprop as possible in order to justify expanding their budgets. Okay? Noting a series of smash and grab robberies and follow home robberies that have been reported in recent weeks in Los Angeles, Moore said people should be careful wearing expensive jewelry, driving expensive vehicles, and leaving high-end establishments because people may be targeting them for robberies. This is true. They are doing this, for the record. Okay? A lot of the murders that people are talking about, a lot of the murders that people are freaking out over, okay, are coming from low-income neighborhoods and are related to gang activity. The homicides. That is not acceptable. It doesn't make this right, but just understand, I'm just trying to offer you some kind of context.
Have I been here for 16 months? White.
Moore also said the department expects to have recovered 9,000 firearms in 2021 by the end of the year, which will be a significant number higher than any of our previous years in recent memory. That's another issue, is that there's a lot more guns in the streets in Los Angeles.
Hassle.
Okay? Now, some cops or law enforcement officials are using this as an opportunity to basically fucking spear dick the narrative that cops are demoralized and they can't do their jobs because they're in their fucking fifis. Others are saying that the police have been defunded, and that's precisely why they do not have the bandwidth to deal with every single this massive spike in crime. Okay? It's fucking bullshit.
Twitch really wants me to send this so high, chat.
If you ask the cops, they say they are demoralized because people are calling us racist, so we're not going to do our jobs because we're more inclined to just stay behind and let it happen. If you ask the cops, they say they're not proactive in making stops
5 months
because they're worried that they're going to be fucking clipped and shipped. Okay? Bullshit. And they're also claiming that criminals feel more emboldened because they know cops won't do anything, because they have the ultimate tool of calling them racist if they are doing crimes. Now that is a laughable fucking, that is like a child. A child came up with that. Okay? An actual child came up with that idea, and if you believe that, you are also baby-brained, and I'm sorry to say, but that's precisely why they can get away with it, because they have baby brains and you have baby brain, so that's why you believe the baby brain bullshit. Okay? police demoralization is not a reason for crime increasing or
2 months.
fucking decreasing.
Baby steps to brain rot.
Okay? Do your fucking jobs, cops. Holy shit. You exaggerate? Wait, you think I'm exaggerating? You think I just made that up? Hold on.
My wife's boyfriend gave me pocket money to sub to you, Saj.
Captain Paul Vernon ran the Los Angeles Police Department's CompStat division until this past April. Vernon spent much of 2020 trying to figure out what was behind the rise in killings. Some were quick to blame the spike on COVID, but Vernon says homicides and aggravated assaults were up in the first 2 months of 2020 before the pandemic took hold in the United States. When stay-at-home orders were issued in March, there was a large drop in property crime accompanied by a smaller drop in violent crime. Then in May, George Floyd was murdered by Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin. When he looked at the data, the first thing Vernon noticed was the spike wasn't evenly distributed across the city. Shootings were rising in the same places that had already disproportionately high numbers, south of the 10 freeway, east of LA River. Most of the increase in gun crime was due to shootings with multiple victims. Vernon also noticed a prevalence of walk-up shootings. If you're going to walk up to someone and then shoot them, he says, you're going to be more successful at hitting your target and you're going to be more lethal. So that's the theories of why gun violence is increasing, right? Vernon's theory is one promulgated by a number of U.S. police departments. Decreased police presence in high crime areas. Some of this was by design. In October 2019, the LAPD announced its Metropolitan Division, a group of 200 officers, would stop pulling over random drivers after a LA Times investigation found that traffic stops were disproportionately targeting black drivers. And indeed, traffic stops were down 27%. But Vernon says the decrease in police presence was also due to another, more organic reason. Yeah, traffic stops is where you famously prevent walk-up shootings from occurring. You know? Going ham.
Hassle.
Going absolutely fucking bananas on like a black dude driving a car is how you actually stop, future crime. That's how you do it. But Vernon says decrease in police presence was due to another more organic reason. If you're going to call the police racist, by the way, I was quoting that person, which is why it's funny that the chatter challenged me on this and said, are you serious? You're just making that up. If you're going to call the police racist, if you're going to call for the defunding of the police and stigmatize the police, and I also talk to fucking cops as well. So, that's another thing. This tracks with what the fuck they tell me all the goddamn time too. There's going to be a natural pullback from the police, he says. Police are not going to be as proactive in making stops, in initiating activity, if they believe the result of that is going to be them getting fired or being called a racist. How many cops have gotten fucking fired for a traffic stop? How many cops have gotten fucking fired for killing someone? Notice how none of this revolves around like actually fucking investigating crimes that have already occurred and solving those cases when it comes to like any number of different robberies, burglaries, whatnot, and all about like crime prevention in the form of increased police presence and traffic stops. Like it's never about like actually preventing crime with a systemic solution that tries to tackle the underlying reasons in which crime manifests. Okay, and it's always about preventing crime by what? Increasing police presence. Where you fucking will get pulled over and get a ticket. Okay, and that's how we prevent further crimes from happening. The upshot, according to the cops like Vernon, is that the criminals feel emboldened, more comfortable carrying a gun, and even more comfortable using one. Okay? For the record, police solve just 2% of all major crimes. That's a fun little fact as well. Overall, across the board. In reality, about 11% of all serious crimes result in an arrest, and about 2% end in a conviction. Therefore, the number of people police hold accountable for crimes are very, very low. Okay?
Wow.
So that's something you should also remember. Arrests also do not automatically account as a conviction. So always remember, when a news outlet that you are getting information from tries to fucking make it seem as though the arrests for particular crimes
3 months
is the same as solving the crime itself, that outlet is doing propaganda for the police force by lying to you. Arrests do not equal conviction. Even convictions themselves don't mean that the crime has been solved. Okay?
1 year down, now I'm a full-blown himbo. Thai chat.
Just remember that. I think your TikTok is working. I see a lot of new chatters in here. Okay. So, let's continue. Oh, for the record, I mean, here. Activists and people who, cover this sort of stuff say that Vernon is wrong. The idea that police demoralization could have resulted in the kinds of homicide increases we're talking about really strains credulity, says Richard Rosenfeld, a professor of criminology at the University of Missouri St. Louis. If the police are pulling back, why is it that it's only affected the homicide rates? Why not property crime rates? He adds, there could have been some impact on homicide, but a 35% increase in Los Angeles, highly doubtful. That makes no sense. Oh man, cops are no longer patrolling the streets because I can call them racist. And that's why I'm going to do a murder. And definitely not any fucking, property crimes. I'm not going to hit a quick lick or anything like that. Just murders for me, baby. Because cops are not fucking paying attention. Let's go. Like, that's what baby-brained, idiotic suburbanites unironically believe. And it fucking blows my mind, okay? The most devious lick of all, murder. Alternate theories abound. David Abrams' best guess is that the pandemic upset the delicate balance between different gangs and organized criminals. Some may have returned from a self-imposed quarantine last summer to find their turf taken over, which might have led to fighting. Others blame criminal justice reforms enacted across the country, including by LA County District Attorney George Gascon. In May, for instance, Glendora police arrested and released the same man 3 different times for 3 different car thefts in a single day. The police blamed a new COVID-era policy of not jailing people arrested for certain low-level felonies. So the thing that I get, even in this article, they have to fucking do a little bit of propaganda, okay? Why the fuck are they releasing someone who is a repeat offender in the same fucking day? Punish the police department. Okay? That's insanity.
But these explanations don't feature minorities bad, so the right...
Oh yeah, the other police say demoralized officers are quitting in droves. Labor data says no. That's another part of it. That's also true. Yeah, murder is up in a lot of cities, yes. What the data that I am mentioning here, by the way, the data that I'm mentioning here tracks exactly, almost exactly the same with other major cities. Property theft is down. Thefts in general are down overall in most cities since before the pandemic. Okay. But murders, unfortunately, are up in certain cities. Okay. The rate of increase in homicides is up. Anyway. Yeah, if you call a cop racist, they will let you go, dude. West Hollywood is out of control right now with armed robberies. Okay, so I'm going to get to that. So here's the problem.
Wow, one whole
West
year,
Hollywood is not out of control with armed robberies. It only feels that way because there is a hyper focus on such an issue. Okay? Someone who lives in West Hollywood, is it okay? Absolutely not. It's incredibly fucked up. But the reason why we are hyper focusing on it, especially when you literally look at the fucking data, the reason why we're hyper focusing on that right now is because that's what every outlet and also most of these fucking reactionary Instagram accounts are pumping out. That's it.
Gimme delusion.
It is the current prevailing narrative. Download the Citizen app. I live in West Hollywood. Well, I was going to get to that. Apps like Citizen and Ring are the reason why a lot of people falsely believe that there's an increase in armed robberies. Armed robberies across the board, okay? Armed robberies across the fucking board are a traumatic experience, okay? So seeing that, and it's very visceral, being able to see that and being able to see it all the fucking time in real time is going to break your fucking brain. You understand? So what you are actually experiencing is you're just simply paying attention to it because it's highlighted in your fucking face.
My brain is rotting.
But when you actually look at the data, it's not an increase that is beyond the pale. There's still a significant decrease from fucking before COVID. Frequency illusion, also known as the Bader-Meinhof phenomenon or frequency bias, is a cognitive bias in which after noticing something for the first time, there's a tendency to notice it more often, leading to someone to believe that it has a high frequency of occurrence. It occurs when increased awareness of something creates the illusion that it's happening more often. But plainly, the frequency illusion is when a concept or a thing you just found out about suddenly seems to crop up everywhere. Okay?
9-month brain rot has been deflected, has flex.
Yeah, it's like thinking that if you frequent the, public fucking, what's it called? Like the crazy fight subreddit. What was it? Public outrage or whatever. Public freakouts, and thinking that like America is a nation of people who like bite each other's fucking faces. You get what I'm saying?
$100.
Now that's a very powerful bias though. So when I tell you that, especially when it comes to especially when I'm talking about something that is so visceral, like a fucking armed robbery video that you watched.
Hasaroni, give me the news, Roni.
I've been here for 5 years. It definitely seems worse now. Dog, I've been living in West Hollywood for 5 years too, okay? I'm telling you that that's not what the fucking data shows. So I don't know what to tell you other than explain the fucking bias that you're experiencing, okay? Explain the reasons for why you're experiencing said bias, and then turning around and showing you fucking data that literally destroys that bias. And you're still like, nah, it doesn't matter. It seems worse. It's not. You're just seeing it more frequently. Now, it's also a shitty fucking situation, okay? It's also a shitty situation to be in because, I get, it sounds ridiculous when you feel terrified. When you feel fucking terrified because, you feel like crime is increasing. Violent crime is increasing. People are feeling unsafe. And here you have some fucking asshole, okay, you have some asshole telling you, well, actually, the data is not real. But then you're like, well, one fucking crime is too much. Yeah, no shit. Okay? No shit. I'm not saying it's a fucking good thing. I'm simply stating that the hysteria associated with this is the reason why you feel the way you feel. Okay? That's it.
Word.
Anyway, stabbings are also on the rise. Believes the rise in shootings may be less about cops and more about the citizens they're charged with protecting. Clearly, something is awry with the relationship between police and communities they serve. People are even less likely than before to cooperate with the police. That's a huge problem. Certainly, by the way. Do you guys remember sanctuary cities? It was a big deal that Donald Trump would fucking talk about nonstop. The reasoning behind why sanctuary cities were built to begin with, a concept established to begin with, was not because like, oh, pussy-ass libtards just want fucking illegal immigrants to just live freely and, suckle on the teat of the American social safety nets, which, hilarious. American social safety nets, funny meme. It was so that there was increased cooperation with law enforcement and those communities itself so that law enforcement could actively and deliberately and in a better capacity fucking work within those communities. Okay? So if you're murdering motherfuckers out there, if police brutality is at an all-time fucking high, okay? If the police look like goddamn occupying forces and you're seeing that and you're recognizing that and there's no fucking accountability, you're less likely to fucking work with the police. And when you're less likely to work with the police, stabbings are going to happen and you're not going to want to fucking tell the cops anything.
At Hasanabi, keep up the great work, man.
Whatever the reason for the rise in homicides is the potential to upend the current political dynamic in American cities. Crime has become the central issue in New York City's mayoral race. That's why former police officer Eric Adams, a big NFT boy, one of the most interesting men in America, is now the mayor. He also called for more policing and defended policies like stop and frisk. LA will hold its own mayoral election in November 2022, and its observers wonder if former cop Joe Buciano, all right, will similarly benefit from the crime issue. And then there's Sheriff Alex Villanueva.
Really?
Google sheriff's gangs, LASD gangs. Shouts out to Sheriff Alex Villanueva, who, mindful of the calls for him to resign, has taken to using the rise in crime as a means of retaining power. He's blamed the rise on less cops, more crooks, less consequences. His solution, he created a unit that will process concealed carry permits faster. The rise in fucking homicides in Los Angeles are directly related, or at least correlated. It doesn't mean causation, but more guns and higher capacity magazines. And our solution is, yeah, fuck it. We'll put the, we'll give you.
Hopefully, I don't end up with.
You can just get a concealed carry license now, so that more fucking dumbass, marketing executives and shit that work at like a fucking media startup can have a gun that gets stolen from them and then used in an actual fucking crime. Really cool. That seems like the smart thing to do.
Please don't shoot me, God no.
Okay?
Poggers.
You're saying that people aren't reporting crimes as much because they distrust the police, while also saying that crime has been lower than pre-COVID. No, it's not that they're not reporting the crimes. When someone gets fucking stabbed, that crime, even if someone calls it in or not, is reported. I'm simply stating that people are less likely to collaborate with the cops after a crime has been reported. Okay? It's like when the real crime of missing the top of the hour ad break happens. Okay? And no one, and I mean no one, is reporting on it and informing me and letting me know that that happened already. And now we're 46 minutes in. Okay? But fear not, folks. If you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe. You can do that for $5. You can do that by, praying to Allah to get a gifted sub. But if you don't, if you're not lucky enough, like to receive one from Cute, for example, who just gifted 5 gifty boys. Okay. Then you need to subscribe for $5. If you don't have $5, you can do it for free with a Twitch Prime. By connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, you get 1 free Prime subscription a month. But here's the 1-minute ad break now.
Cool vest.
Anyway. There's actually no murder in California in self-defense. You guys got own guns for a reason. Anyway. So now that we've tackled the fucking increase in crime narrative, let's talk about the budget. Let's talk about the budget, the $150 million in budget cuts. I mean, god damn. The LAPD, they're broke boys, dude. They're fucking broke boys, dude. They don't got the cake. They're not fucking caked up. Okay? What the hell?
Looking ghetto delicious today, Italian
What the
hands.
fucking hell? These cops, they can't get another armored personnel carrier. How else will they stop people from breaking in to Louis Vuitton and jewelry stores and grabbing as much as they can if they don't have mine-sweeping vehicles? If you don't have an APC, take your broke ass home, they said. They said that.
$2 months, but actually more like 1 year and a half if you count watching the Hasanabi Clip Complex.
Well, that's interesting to consider, considering the fact that, first of all, the LAPD is the whopping behemoth that takes up the overwhelming majority of the budget allocated within the city. Okay? Just a fucking fat behemoth. Plus, they wasted a bunch of fireworks they would have resold in a tent somewhere. That's true. We need anti-aircraft weapons, okay? That's what we need. We need surface-to-air missile launchers for the Los Angeles Police Department. The $150 million is just a simple shave from the slated increase that they were supposed to have on top of their overinflated military-style budget.
My friend has been missing in LA for the last 2 weeks.
Okay.
Could you show this flyer to raise awareness?
For example,
please?
the New York Police Department is one of the world's largest standing armies, okay? That's how big the NYPD is. They have anti-aircraft missiles, by the way. That's not even a joke. They literally have that. 9/11, baby. This idea
we have
this
a baby
idea
Arjan Moon to Pregario.
that police have been successfully defunded is ridiculous. It is the most laughable concept on the planet. Okay? California is one of the states that spend the most on policing and corrections. Okay? It's number 5 after Nevada, District of Columbia, Florida, Maryland. And at number 5, you have liberal ass California. It makes up about 5.62 of our total expenditure in the state.
Chat, please.
Which is, sorry, I guess it's 35. I don't know. I mean, I guess technically this would be $35 billion, $36 billion. Yeah, get fucked, Texas. My friend has been missing in LA for 2 weeks. If you could share this flyer. Okay, there it is. Missing person. Christian Thomas Sanford, age 31. Sorry to hear that, man. Okay. When people talk about a decrease in police budgets, they're simply talking about a decrease in the amount that they were actually going to get extra on top of their already expansive and inflated budget. It's like a fucking 8% shave off the top of the extra money that they were going to get. And they're still fucking crying about it. Okay? And they're still fucking crying about it. Ridiculous. Absolutely fucking ridiculous. Okay?
Bing bong.
And that budget decrease was supposed to be spent on social programs, was supposed to be spent on eradicating poverty and crime as a consequence of poverty. It was supposed to be spent on hiring and training social workers. Okay? And cops are still losing their shit. Overall, Garcetti's proposed budget for 2021 and 2022 was $1.76 billion for the Los Angeles Police Department. And these motherfuckers are crying that they got only a 3% increase.
I got the brain rot. Let's go hoggers.
1.76 billion. And they're literally fucking crying about 120 million being allocated elsewhere. Okay? Why they get an increase? They always get an increase, dude. Are you kidding me? They're the biggest fucking gang of all. Oh, here's a good video.
What do you think about the new measures?
I think that they're not very good because I've personally been able to shoplift from here with relative ease. So.
You shoplifted here?
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
I was hungry.
And so you're saying that this doesn't deter you?
Yeah.
What do you?
Yeah, it's Jake and Bake. The United States only spends $12 billion total in public transportation. Think of that when looking at the LAPD budget. So this idea, so an overall increase in the LA budget, so then why are they getting the $150 million decrease? They're not actually getting a $150 million decrease. It's just, instead of a 4% increase, they're getting a fucking 3% increase. How do you not understand that? That's what they're fucking crying about. That's the point, okay? Their budget was supposed to go up by 4%, but now it's going up by only 3%. And remember, at a time when their budget is already $1.7 billion, okay? And that's what they're fucking complaining about. That's what they're complaining about. So the idea that police budgets have decreased are fucking laughable, ridiculous. Okay? Now, let's continue. The last part of the story is the most laughable one. And unfortunately, I hate to report this, but I've literally had this conversation with friends of mine who I otherwise would feel are intelligent, and they're liberals, okay, and that they are
15 months. Allah.
you know,
Brain rot flows
well-intentioned human beings, okay? And it is really fucking sad to see people like that behaving this way, okay? It's not Austin show. It's not Austin show. It's not. Stop saying it's Austin show. The idea that Gavin Newsom released 75 or 76,000 violent prisoners into the streets overnight is the most laughable and idiotic fucking thing I have ever heard in my entire life. That, like, even if you don't know anything about the situation, when you're faced with this like psychotic fucking take, your immediate reaction, if you are someone with like 3.5 brain cells, should be, that sounds insane. Okay? Knowing everything you know about how the American criminal justice system works, you should recognize that is an insane thing to say. Okay? The people make it seem as though these were people that had like done a murder yesterday and were released tomorrow. Okay? That's not how this works. You think the court system, the criminal justice system in the United States of America, is going to turn around and be like, oh, you did a murder yesterday? Well, sorry, Gavin Newsom said you can go free now. That's what people think. Okay? That's literally what people think. That's how psychotic people are. How insane is that? It's a program that's been in place since, I believe, 2014 or 2017, which is an effort to reduce the overcrowded prison system that we have, okay? Where even if you are a violent, even if you're convicted of a violent fucking crime, okay? If you've served like a third or half of your sentence already, meaning like you've been in prison for fucking 10 years and have demonstrated that you have been rehabilitated, you can get out on good behavior earlier than the end of your prison sentence. This is an effective solution to decrease recidivism, okay? To promote good behavior. It's completely conditional, okay? It's completely conditional. And obviously there are significant fucking checks.
In remission now. Thanks, brother.
That is so psychotic that people think like, oh, 75,000 violent criminals are on the streets now. No, motherfucker. These are people who have been serving a long-ass, incredibly inhumane criminal sentence that are now getting allowed, that are now being allowed to roam the streets because they demonstrated good behavior. It needs, wait, what? Dez? Obviously, I think it's Dez. No shot, depending. It needs proper vetting. What are you saying right now? I mean, it needs proper vetting. What, you think they're just like releasing people? Even with proper vetting, they don't release half the people they should be releasing. I have no idea what the fuck that person is talking about. About 10 years ago, the federal government had to come into California and order them to decrease their prison and jail populations. Yeah. Here you go. And for this, I'm going to go to the most liberal fucking outlet that I can go to, unfortunately. But, so here is the article.
Thank you.
76,000 California prisoner inmates could be released earlier on good behavior. But that doesn't mean that 76,000 people were let go overnight from jail. Like they opened up the jails like when the Taliban took over Afghanistan. There's a good behavior program that was expanded for 76,000 prison inmates that were already serving out their sentences, that have served out at least a third of their sentences, that are eligible for release on good behavior. Okay? Inmates must demonstrate good behavior and in some cases a complete rehabilitation program to receive a reduction. The complete rehabilitation for violent crimes, obviously. The state's prison spokesperson said the program doesn't include any automatic releases. She added that it will be months or years before anyone is released under this change. So people haven't even been released yet. And motherfuckers think like there's prisoners that were like doing rapes last week that are fucking on the streets this week doing more rapes. In order to be eligible, inmates must meet the following criteria: have 180 days or less to serve on their sentence, are not currently serving time for domestic violence or a violent crime as defined by law, have no current or prior sentences that require them to register as a sex offender under Penal Code 290, not have an assessment score that indicates a higher risk for violence. And that assessment score itself is already like incredibly fucking draconian.
As high.
Okay? Do you understand? This fucking idea that, like, you know, people are being let go is a laughable one.
Do you think
but people still say it no matter what. So let's watch the rest of this agitprop while I go pee.
Would work out. Sheriff Alex Villanueva released some crime stats last month. He says that in Los Angeles County, compared to 2019, aggravated assaults involving firearms are up 73%. Motor vehicle theft is up 58%. And arrests are down 34%. Katie Grimes of the California Globe had a great line. She said the house that Californians built and Democrats cheaply remodeled is on fire. Well, she's not wrong. I suggest that we, the people, had better wrestle the power away from these progressive politicians before their woke ideology makes this once wonderful state uninhabitable for civilized people. What are your thoughts? Call and let us know. I'm Bill Lamb, and that's my point of view.
Fox News Alert now, the stunning rise in crime overwhelming Democrat-led cities across America, from violent threats on a New York City subway to deadly home invasions in Los Angeles. It's all sparking a national conversation and serious concerns about America's crime crisis and where the outrage over the violence will lead. You're watching Outnumbered. I'm Harris Faulkner. I'm joined now by my co-hosts, Emily Campagno, Kayleigh
McEnany to AOC. Were those imaginary smash and grabs?
13 months my brain is rotted. Bing bong.
How do you guys like them apples, dude? Huh?
$13 hassle.
Anyway, Outnumbered, a show by the Christian white majority where we pretend to be outnumbered by minorities. I live in LA and I'm literally fighting off 12 home invaders, bro. Yeah, straight up. Prisoners go through psych evaluation where analyst decides if they're at risk to reoffend and consider how damaging an error would be for an analyst's reputation. They often get false positives for reassessment. So the idea that they're just releasing prisoners left and right is laughable. I know, it's like a childish one. Like, have you never even watched a fucking movie or something? Like, I don't understand. Like have you never seen the process where they where they look at you know, parole eligibility? Like in a movie even? Like, what do you think? They just go, oh, all right, sir. It says here you've done 10 rapes. Well, sorry, can't do anything. Gavin Newsom said you have to be released right now.
Smile.
Do they think progressives run courts and prisons? What the fuck? Yes, they do. They literally do.
Fox business anchor Dagan McDowell. And in the center virtual seat on this fine Monday, former Utah Congressman and Fox News contributor Jason Chaffetz. Hey, everybody. Well, in New York City, police are searching for a man accused of threatening to kill a woman on the subway with wooden daggers. That happened just days after a PhD student was stabbed to death near Columbia University in Manhattan. The suspect was previously arrested 16 times, dating back to 2012, and was out on parole for a 2015 gang assault. Meanwhile, not even the wealthiest neighborhoods in Los Angeles are safe. Jacqueline Avant, philanthropist and wife of music legend Clarence Avant, was shot and killed in a horrific robbery in her Beverly Hills home last week. The crime was so shocking, even Oprah spoke out. She hopped up on Twitter with this. The fact that this has happened, her being shot and killed in her own home after giving, sharing, and caring for 81 years, has shaken the laws of the universe. The world is upside down. Criminals are breaking into stores, too. We've seen that. There's plenty of video of it. A wave of dangerous smash and grabs costing businesses tens of billions of dollars. However, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, or AOC as she likes to call herself, apparently doubts whether rampant smash and grabs are actually even happening. Telling the Washington Times, a lot of these allegations of organized retail theft are not actually panning out. I believe it's a Walgreens in California cited it, but the data just didn't back it up. The data, the video, the experiences, all of it. Jason, what is...
It's like, wow, AOC is not centering the lived experience of Louis Vuitton into her rhetoric, and that's really fucked up. Okay? Not as fucked up as running a top of the hour ad break like literally 20 minutes after you ran the first one because you forgot to run the first one at the top of the hour, so now you're going to run it immediately so it feels like it's back to back, but unfortunately I have to do so because, you know, I got to keep doing that. But of course, if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe. And even if I ran 2 ads in a span of 20 minutes over the course of a 6-hour broadcast, it still actually pans out to significantly less ads than every other fucking comparable content creator on the platform. But having said all this,
let's go 12 months.
Underground Bot and Jerry T and people and self-defense ads that all gifted 5 gifted subscriptions will allow you, if you are a recipient of said gifted subscriptions, to avoid seeing ads. But if you're not lucky, you're going to have to buy a subscription yourself for $5. You no longer see those ads. If you are you don't have $5, then you can do it for free with a Twitch Prime. But here's the ad break now.
She's seeing that the rest of us apparently are imagining.
Holy shit, 17.
She lives in a different universe. Look, this is sad. It doesn't have to be this way. These types of things, we need community policing, and then we need prosecutors who enforce the law. But they're not doing that in these democratic cities.
Thank you, Nathaniel.
And you know what? One of the best
S103.
indicators, the metric that you can look at as to does America feel safe or not safe, are gun sales. Look at gun sales and ammunition sales. You go into a Cabela's or a place that sells ammunition, you can't even get it because America doesn't feel safe.
Because the thieves have stolen the bullets from the Cabela's.
Nice flow, Hassan.
And these Democrats are making conscious choices to defund or decrease the amount of money that goes into policing. The business community and the voters have got to stand up for themselves. I don't understand why these businesses aren't in there yelling and screaming at the mayor and the city council demanding that they be protected. And the consequence is the most poor, the most vulnerable among us, they're the ones that suffer the most consequences. That's what's so sad about it.
Yeah. The consequences of stealing shit in a smash and grab from a Louis Vuitton storefront is the real victims are never heard from. Partially because they can't speak, because they're not a human, they're a storefront. In which case, you know, they don't really have feelings or are human beings or any of that. Like, I mean, there's nothing that you can't actually try to add any sort of quantitative analyses to or the feelings of a storefront. Not going to happen. Also, when fucking Louis Vuitton bags, in an effort to maintain their price points, when Louis Vuitton bags are out of season and they haven't been sold, they get thrown in the fucking trash or burned. So, you know, A lot of these luxury brands engage in a similar thing. So, you know, it's not. do we care and consider the feelings of Louis Vuitton in that moment, or no? Probably not.
About this,
you know, Dagan, I'm going to guess that those business owners don't feel heard because they've been screaming for over 2 years now. I mean, and when you get to the point where they pick the rioters over the small businesses and the citizens in cities like we've seen in Portland and Seattle, I guess you kind of get the word, right? You understand it, that they don't care about them. But this is going to hurt everybody.
It does hurt everybody. It creates retail wastelands in impoverished neighborhoods that really can't afford to lose.
What the fuck are you talking about, you psycho? Retail wastelands? Literally go to Syracuse if you want to see what a fucking retail wasteland looks like, dumbass. You know what's a real retail wasteland? When manufacturing moves overseas and towns that relied on a singular fucking industry or a factory are no longer just a town where people live. Okay, go to upstate New York. I'll show you fucking retail wasteland, dude. Emptied out malls that look like fucking skeletons. Retail wasteland. So stupid, dude. You're literally showing people doing smash and grabs at Louis Vuitton in one of the wealthiest fucking neighborhoods. What do you mean? Oh, poor neighborhoods are being targeted and attacked. Like, how many of those stories revolve around fucking stealing from the dollar store, dude? These poor people. Like, yeah, dude, there's the Louis Vuitton store in Crenshaw is creating a retail wasteland for poor neighborhoods. The jewelry store in Inglewood is creating a fucking retail wasteland now, dude. It's crazy.
Use a Walgreens or a CVS or a store that provides groceries. All of these major...
None of these are that. You're showing a video of someone with a bunch of Louis Vuitton running out of a Louis V store.
Chains.
You can't even do your fucking propaganda appropriately.
Can fight this. They have people on staff, large staffs, trying to track what's estimated to be $45 billion in annual losses these days in theft. And by the way, and I checked with Andy McCarthy about this, Joe Biden's Justice Department, Merrick Garland's Justice Department, and the FBI could do a heck of a lot more to fight.
The FBI? You want to sick the FBI on people that are doing like holiday robbing season retail crime? What the fuck? What are they going to do, bro?
That's good.
Bro, sending the FBI on people who are engaging in like what is it called, like foot pedal theft or whatever, like literally just like running away after doing a smash and grab, is like 1,000 times more insane than me telling the cops like my phone was stolen. You know what I mean? Like, it's literally the FBI. You want the FBI to prosecute shoplifting, but like the local police department can't even fucking engage in like a serious investigation for grand larceny. This is their legal analyst, by the way, Dagan McDowell.
This crime, you don't even need to, and Emily can jump in on this, but you don't even need to use the RICO or racketeering statutes. That it's simply because if you could investigate it based purely on interstate commerce, if the stolen property is being moved, or if interstate conspiracy.
How many of these people actually believe what they say? Oh, dude, they definitely believe it, dude. This is, come on, this is tough on crime. This is like black people. Come on, they definitely believe all of that. This is one of those instances where they straight up believe the shit that they're spewing. Like, this lady would love it if the FBI or if they like sicked the ATF on fucking shoplifters. It's like started having them murder shoplifters on spot because they went into Louis Vuitton and broke the storefront. I'm not even kidding.
conspiracies or organizing them. Remember the Department of Justice went in after investigating the theft of Joe Biden's daughter's diary, alleging that it was involved in the interstate transportation of it, even though it might have been stolen out of a hotel. Or Merrick Garland said, oh, the Justice Department needs to investigate parents and help out the school boards that might be facing uproars at meetings. So they could get involved in prosecuting these crimes if they thought it was a problem. And by the way, just real quick, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has always talked about the screeching climate deniers. Well, she's a screeching crime denier, and that's worse.
Actually, I don't even.
She's a crime denier. Oh, AOC is saying that the heightened hysteria around like shoplifting is totally media manufactured. And when you look at the statistics, the reality is entirely different than how the media, including Fox News, is portraying it. Wait, what is this? What happened here? Castro Safeway adds security gates, barriers. This automatic gate closes after each person enters the store. Barricades also make it harder for shoplifters to make a run for it. Safeway are closed off and exit and blocked with water bottles. Chapo Trap House millionaires can make fun of people for being upset about the crime wave all they want, but the barricaded security state that's emerging from it tears at the social fabric. This is a shit way to live in a city. Chapo Trap House millionaires. I have a friend who was jacked on the street for his video equipment, another friend whose dad was mugged in broad daylight, a guy up the street was murdered in his house, a neighborhood, a stray bullet fly through her living room, and I'm a middle-class guy. There are organized crime circles in the Bay who jack video news crews, already one fatality.
Hassle.
Others that steal catalytic converters at night. Yeah, dude. I wonder why that happens, though. I really don't understand your take on this. Why do you laugh about it? Because crying about the social fabric being destroyed while simultaneously fucking feeding into the extended hysteria, the greatly fucking exaggerated hysteria of a crime wave where the data itself shows the exact opposite reality is hilarious, because every single person on the left in unison, okay, uniformly agrees that we need to solve the underlying material inequities in order to deal with the crime wave that isn't even fucking happening. Okay? That is what is the problem. The problem is people just want extra police brutality and that will stop the crime. That's not how that fucking works. Okay? The way you stop crime is not by beefing up and militarizing the police. The way you stop crime is by reducing poverty. Okay? Allowing people to opportunity. You have to fix the causes of crime and not the symptoms. Can you show where your data is? I want to use it for myself if I run for a dumb hog in the future. I mean, I've already gone through it on video. You can look at that. Okay? Ignore what real people in cities say and look at my data. AOC's literally left the Lenin. Yeah, no, that's literally what I'm saying. Also, I'm a real people in this city, you fucking jackass. What are you talking about? I literally live here. I've lived in this city for a lot longer than most of these motherfuckers have. You unironically just came into this chat to say, fuck data, anecdotes are better. You literally said, fuck the data, my anecdotes are better than the data. You are an idiot. I don't know what else to say other than you are a fucking idiot. You live in West Hollywood. Where do you think the crime wave is happening, you fucking moron?
Brain rot is in full effect.
The crime wave, the supposed crime wave is literally in West Hollywood and Melrose and Beverly Hills. Like, that's what they're supposedly claiming is happening. This person is unreachable.
What that throat do?
I'm a millionaire like you're a filmmaker. I hope the entire Bay Area spends 3 times as much as Chicago does on cops like you want. I hope it completely stops the crime the same way you did it in Cook. Same way it did in Cook. Put this on your blog where you say the exact same shit as 50 other media washouts. You link to the shooting death of a toddler to sell subscribers to your blog for old guys. You are in the 9th circle. You are a bug man beyond all. You will never see heaven. What point were you even making?
Kid. Hassel, it's been a long time.
For a 30-foot view of San Francisco crime statistics since it's been popping off on the news, though things like burglary, successful or not, have increased, it comes with notable decreases in robbery, assault, and larceny. Made a little thing with San Francisco's public crime data from 2017 to 2021. Yeah, motor vehicle theft and burglaries have increased in San Francisco. That's not the same as Los Angeles. You look like you're getting frustrated. Yeah, of course I'm getting frustrated because I keep repeating the same fucking information over and over again with data, and people go, "Nah, I don't really care about the data, man. I don't actually care about the data, brother. I think what's more important to me, rather than the data itself, is just like how I feel about it." Okay? And it fucking sucks. It literally sucks that like there are people unironically who are just like, yeah, the data doesn't matter because it doesn't affect you the same way. Dude, I literally live in the crime center according to these people. Okay? You can't say that to me. And not only have I lived in California for like the past 10 years, I lived in West Hollywood for like the past 5. What they are referencing is crime happening in my backyard, okay? So when you fucking turn around and say it doesn't impact you, you're a fucking idiot. You're literally a stupid person who is talking to me from Connecticut about crime that is supposedly happening in my backyard, and that's so much worse than it was 5 years ago, when it's not the case. I know that we talk about like facts don't care about your feelings or whatever the fuck all the time. Like Ben Shapiro says that, but like facts literally don't care about your feelings. Oakland, San Fran, and New York City isn't West Hollywood. Data isn't always true. Okay, you're a fucking baboon, dude. Data isn't always true. Yeah. It's only true when you can manipulate it to your own ends. It's false if it literally destroys your worldview that you want to believe in.
Life is so much better in at Hasanabi's cold house boggies.
And it's fucking ridiculous. We literally just watched a person go down the fucking NPC talking point tree. Okay, well, the data is like anecdotes are more important than data. Okay, well, the data isn't always, or the data doesn't say what you think it says. Oh, wait, it does say what you think it says? Well, okay. Well, it's not the other fucking areas. You don't live in all of these cities. And then finally, well, data is not actually real. Data is data, and, I don't care, actually. This isn't to say, okay? This isn't to say that crime is not a fucking problem. Okay? This isn't to say that you should suck it up if you're involved in a fucking robbery. That's not what I'm saying at all. Those are horrific fucking instances. Those are very emotionally charged instances. They're traumatizing, okay?
Crime is
we live in cities you'll never see on screen. Not very pretty. Sorry. We live in cities with the underlying assumption that someone's not going to fucking come up to you with a gun and be like, give me all your shit. Okay? when that safety bubble is burst, well, that's a really traumatizing experience. So I sympathize with that. But right now, I'm countering the agitprop that is forcing you to get even more exasperated by this supposed fucking rise in like crazy crime. Okay? So you have two options here. You're like, wait a minute. Well, this is interesting. You know, I do feel very passionate about this.
5 months hassle.
But also at the same time, maybe I'm wrong. Because the data itself is showing something entirely different than what I see in all the news, non-fucking stop. Or what you can do is go, no, fuck that. The data is probably fake. I'm going to keep believing what I'm seeing in the fucking news because they're using like the same loop of like Louis Vuitton stores being smashed and grabbed over and over again, and it gets me fucking hard. Okay?
Yeet yeet.
And we have seen this with the SJ, with the anti-SJW, the rise in like anti-SJW shit, right? Where like, even if statistics show a different reality, Nazis on the internet would constantly look for like, a Muslim did this on camera. Look at this. All Muslims are bad. And everyone would just get fucking riled up thinking like, that's right. They are bad. You're right. Look at this video. I thought we went past that point. You know what I mean? I thought we went past the point of being like, Black Lives Matters is bad because there's this cell phone footage from 15 years ago where a black person says, fuck all crackers. Like shit that your grandparents are sending to one another. But no, all of these fucking little Zoomers have that same kind of brain disease their grandparents have, dude. And this has terrifying consequences.
Very happy
more reactionary attitudes about crime.
3 months.
Beefing up like and further militarizing the police force. You know? That's just not going to solve the crime, dude. Yeah, the data isn't always true, just like the election results and the COVID does. Exactly. Yeah, it's just weird that like data has this bias towards the left. It's kind of odd. You know? Data isn't true. What is true is the one video I see in loop. It's so good. So fucking good, dude. It's me!